You are now entering what can only be described as a true free speech zone, where nothing is off limits and there is absolutely no censorship. Welcome to Open Mic with
AWG
Boog
touched on
Brand.
one of the things that I actually want to get into tonight. Kyle Rittenhouse is out on $2 million bail. It's not a win. It's definitely not a win. One of the things that a lot of people are forgetting is that he's being prosecuted for murder. The individual that he shot in the arm, who's still walking around free with zero charges, isn't being charged with anything despite being a felon in possession of a firearm that night, which is telling. The other thing is that very few people know this, I guess, nationally. Locally, Midwest, I think a lot of people are aware of it, but they are charging the friend of Kyle Rittenhouse with a straw purchase. So he used money supplied to him by Kyle Rittenhouse, per the allegations, to secure the firearm in question. So the idea is that funds from Kyle, and this is all allegedly, there's no proof to anything yet. Most everything is just hearsay, kind of just putting a case together. But the whole deal comes down to a few things. Kyle Rittenhouse, apparently, according to the timeline, used money from the stimulus check from coronavirus. There we go. He said it out loud. Again, COVID-19 coronavirus. So we'll get a little banner at the bottom of our stream this week. Keep those YouTube guys working at least. We ain't getting anything from them. Make them work for it. They should have never been charged, Chamber of Defense says. It's true he shouldn't have, but he has been. And even though the defense, the prosecuting attorney's office seemed to, offer a layup to the attorney, Lynn Wood, who, obviously has every right to pursue a self-defense case. They are definitely doing some things to kind of negate that defense. The prosecuting attorneys, when they initially released the probable cause report, basically had it completely laid out where there was no way that he wasn't getting off on self-defense. You could tell totally that they were being pressured politically to push this out. It wasn't something that they wanted to do based on the notes that were in it, based on the way it read. And at the end of the day, basically made it so their attorney could walk in and say self-defense, here's all the proof. It's even in your report. It's in what you say as the probable cause statement. And here we go. The issue is in the state of Wisconsin, and don't take this as legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I was just in the system enough to understand a lot of the law and understand where to look and how to follow this up. So I've done some research on it. In the state of Wisconsin, if you are in the act of committing a misdemeanor or felony crime and you are attacked, you cannot claim self-defense if you kill a person. At the very best, his attorneys, if they can prove that he was in the act of committing a crime, the very best that they can do is get, justifiable homicide charges, which is, justifiable and homicide very rarely go together. It is something that can come up, but it's so hard to get that because a jury looks at homicide as murder, and justifiable means that it's acceptable to murder somebody. So the probability of a justifiable homicide charges is almost non-existent. But what they're doing with this friend is prosecuting him for a straw purchase. Back to that. Manslaughter and justifiable homicide, basically the same thing. Justifiable homicide would be a little bit less time in jail because they look at it kind of, it's like basically it was self-defense, but you did something stupid in the process. So manslaughter will get you 5 to 10 mandatory. Justifiable homicide will be like 5 to 7. It's negligible when you're talking about a kid his age, 7 years, he'll be back out on the street before he's 30. But what people don't realize too is that, at his age, these are formative years. They really do. If you lose these years to prison, the majority of people who come out, they're stopped, they're paused. When they go in to prison, their development mentally, physically, everything kind of pauses. And when they come out, he's going to act like a 17-year-old kid when he comes back out, which is even worse because now he's a 17-year-old kid with felony charges, and now he's facing the rest of his life where he's probably got 5 years where he's going to continue to fuck up if he gets released early, anything like that, and end up back in the system. So it's not a good situation for somebody his age. It's not a good situation for anybody, but especially of his age, I think it's kind of devastating. No matter how you kind of cut it, his life is pretty much fucked from this point forward. But back to his friend and what they're trying to do. Really, what we're seeing here is they're pushing this straw purchase so that they can claim that the weapon was owned illegally, and if the weapon was owned illegally, it was therefore being possessed illegally by Kyle during the commission of this crime or the act of self-defense. Due to it being a weapon charge, it would be a felony illegal possession of a firearm. So it would be during the act of a felony, he would not be able to claim self-defense no matter what happened. So unfortunately, if those charges go through and if those charges are met by the prosecuting attorney, it's basically a way for them to subjugate him away from a self-defense charge, which unfortunately I think is kind of bullshit, but it's what they're doing. So nationally, even though it's not being talked about much, we really need to draw attention to this too. So it's kind of redefining what is a straw purchase, as well. So technically, there was a discussion about him purchasing the firearm and him keeping the firearm here, according to the allegations. I don't know firsthand. I don't know the truth. I don't know if any of this is even real. The fact of the matter is a firearm was purchased with somebody's money, and Kyle got it in his possession. I guess that's where I'm going to leave it because I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on the whole deal. It is kind of shitty. Straw purchase laws are tough. They're that way for a reason. They're to prevent people who are otherwise unable to purchase a firearm from getting it. The reason I think they're kind of shit charges is because technically, if Kyle Rittenhouse were a Wisconsin resident, he would have been able to purchase that rifle himself from the Wisconsin gun broker or whatever, and there wouldn't have been an issue. So technically, yes, even if the gun was purchased with the intent that it would be used by Kyle, the possession of the firearm and where it resided technically was not with Kyle. It was with his friend. So it's no different than if I have 3 pistols and, hey, every time you come up here from Illinois, bud, we're going to go to the range, and this is the one you can shoot every single time. And if you ever move up here, you know what? I'm just going to give it to you. Well, technically, by the definition that they're saying, this could be a straw purchase for that individual, regardless of where the money came from. I think it's something we got to watch because as a gun community, I think it's dangerous. I think it's something that really could end up changing the way we do things. They've already tried doing it with legislation where if you want to borrow a gun to somebody, you got to take it to an FFL, make them fill out a background check, do all this hobnob bullshit, and deal with that. It's a slippery slope. These charges are bullshit. They stem politically. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on it. I know a couple guys in chat kind of AWG, it's so fucked. 1776. It didn't matter how old you were. We gave teenagers and preteens guns to get our revolution. What the fuck has happened? I know, I get it. The thing is it's not an issue of, man, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I don't even think it's an issue of age at this point. Nobody's saying that he couldn't have been in possession of that firearm. It's just a matter of now they're just trying to make it an illegal possession charge, and it's not an illegal possession because he was underage. The state of Wisconsin, as long as you are with somebody who's of age, you can be in possession of a long rifle at the age of 16. I think 12 if you were with your parent or guardian. 16, 15 or 16 as long as you were with another adult, which means anybody over the age of 18. Um, it's opening gun weekend up here. Right, this tomorrow morning there's probably going to be somewhere in the realm of 2 to 5,000 17-year-old kids in the woods with long rifles. Some of them are going to be ARs, some of them are going to be 308s, some of them are going to be AR-10s, M14s, SKSs, AK variants. All these scary black rifles are going to be in the woods. And just like every other fucking year, 200,000 people are going to take to the woods and 200,000 people are going to come out of them. There's going to be an accident here or an accident there because people are stupid. Never going to fix stupid, can't get rid of it. Yeah, Dr. Catmilk says the Orange Vest Army. It's true, Orange and pink. Don't forget, we got women, and in the state of Wisconsin, you can wear hot pink if you're a woman because apparently they think that's the thing. So, I don't know, they say since doing that, the female hunting has gone up by 10%, but I don't think it fucking matters. I've never seen the pink in the woods, but whatever. Chambered defenses, that's crazy, a terrible precedent set. Yeah, it's terrible to set that precedent. I grew up in a family around guns, hunting, this and that. Like, I learned what guns I liked by using other people's guns before I was 18. I knew that I liked a 308 or a 30-06 hunting rifle. That's a bolt action hunting rifle for accuracy and reaching out and touching them deer. There's nothing better in my eyes. And what I like isn't what somebody else likes. So take it with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not going to shit on what you like. You want to go out there and use a Mosin, you go for it. That's your thing. So, SKS, you like an SKS? Do it. There's nothing wrong with any of those rifles. I'll never turn people away from any type of hunting or gunning community because of what they like. So, I've hunted with people who prefer shotguns to rifles. I've hunted with people who prefer, I've got guys that in my hunting party who have used 20 gauge shotguns every year. And then, another guy who's using an AR who's 50 yards away from him in another deer stand.